Hello everyone and welcome to episode 2 of my Minecraft Electrical Age mod tutorial. Now in this episode I'm going to be going over the many crafting machines that this mod offers. And there's the Google Drive download link is in the description of this video, and that will download the world file for this, for this world. And it comes with just a text document listing all of the mods you need to download and the links where you can download them. So it should be pretty easy to get all of the mods required to run this world. Some other things, I kind of forgot to install Wayla, so I have Wayla installed now, so I can now look at the things, and that appears up at the top there. As well as in the description of the video, you will find links to my Discord and my Twitch. I suggest you check those out. So let's just get into this video. So Electrical Age has, it's not a lot of crafting machines, but it's like, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Basically 6. And then, so like, down there, those are the low voltage ones, so those are the 50 volt ones. All of these machines also have a 200 volt variants of them, but they do the exact same thing, just the 200 volt ones do it faster. So let's start off here with the electrical furnace. Now, this thing is crafted using one furnace, what is that, like 7 iron ingots and 1 low voltage cable, and that gives you an electrical furnace. And it's, well, similar to a vanilla furnace, but heats with electricity. With this thing, you can't just apply power to it and throw your stuff in it and expect it to work. It requires a heating element, basically. They're not called heating elements, but yeah. So if you right click on it, you get this nice little interface here, or GUI. Let's just turn that off. There we go. So if you're looking here, there's a couple things here. So there's 2 bars here. Now this is your temperature gauge. You can choose your temperature. You can't actually choose a temperature on this until you put a regulator in there. I'll get into the regulators in another video, probably not next episode, but the one after that, so probably episode 4, when I get into the coal burning power. But yeah, so I'll get into the regulators then, but they're not too hard to understand. Basically, you put it in there, you choose your temperature. There you go. This just shows your voltage and power supply, this bar here. That's where you put your heating corp or heating element. I'm going to refer to them as heating elements in this video just to make it a bit easier to understand. And then here is where you put your stuff. Then this just allows you, so basically when it's set to auto shutdown, when you put something in the furnace to smelt it or cook it, it will turn on. But with the manual shutdown, you can choose whether the furnace is heating or it's not heating. And I'll show how this actually works later on. So before we get on to the different heating corps or heating elements, I'm going to refer to them as heating elements. Now you're going to require a couple extra things to make them. So one of these things is iron cable. Pretty simple, crafted the exact same way as the copper cable is. It's just, instead of 3 copper ingots, it's just 3 iron ingots. That gives you 6 iron cable. Then there's also tungsten cable. Kind of expensive because the tungsten is hard to find, but 3 tungsten ingots equals 6 tungsten cable. And then you can use your cables to make the heating elements. Again, they're called, you know what, I'm going to just call them by their name, the heating corps. There you go. Doesn't really matter. Heating element and heating corp, they're basically the same thing. So here we go. So this is the small 50 volt copper heating corp, and it's crafted with, what is that, 7 copper cable in the shape of an H. And the voltage for this thing is, well, it's 50 volts. Its power is 150 watts. That's what you want to look at, is the power. And the voltage, I guess, too. So yeah, so its power is 150 watts. So this, when used in the electrical furnace, will make the furnace draw 150 watts. And its resistance is 16.7 ohms. You really don't have to worry about the resistance of things unless you're trying to get like really technical and stuff like that, but I find you really don't have to pay attention to that. But yeah, so that was the small heating corp. Now this is the normal 50 volt heating corp, or 50 volt copper heating corp, and it's crafted the same way. Just replace the copper wire or copper cable with copper ingots. And this thing has the same voltage, but its power is 250 watts of heating power, and its resistance is 10 ohms. Let's move over to the small 50 volt iron heating corp, crafted with 7 iron cable in an H shape. And so its voltage 50 volts, its power is 180 watts, and its resistance is 13.9 ohms. Now let's go over to the normal one. So this is the 50 volt iron heating corp, and its voltage is 50 volts, and I should get into crafting. So it's just crafted with 7 iron ingots in an H shape. Pretty simple, not expensive at all. So its voltage is 50 volts, power is 375 watts, and its resistance is 6.67 ohms. Okay, there we go. So now this is the small 50 volt tungsten heating corp, and it's crafted with the tungsten cable in an H shape, and it's 7 of them. And its voltage is 50 volts, its power is 240 watts, and its resistance is 10.4 ohms. Now this is the last heating corp, or heating element, and this is the 50 volt tungsten heating corp, and it's crafted using 7 tungsten ingots, which that's pretty expensive. And its voltage is 50 volts, and it has the heating power of 500 watts, and its resistance is 5 ohms. So this is the most powerful 50 volt heating element or heating corp you can make. There are more powerful ones, but that's for the 200 volt ones. And you pop those things into this slot here, and basically it applies the things there, like the voltage and power and the resistance, that now applies to the furnace. So let's go over. So that was the electrical furnace. I will demonstrate it working, well, near the kind of end of the video, I guess. Yeah, so let's continue on. So these are the other crafting machines that aren't the furnace. So these are kind of the more special ones. And before we get into those, there's a couple things you need to craft them. So one is the electrical motor. Pretty simple to craft. It's just 3 iron ingots, 3 low voltage cable, and then that gives you 1 electrical motor. And then you also need a machine block, and that's crafted using 1 copper cable and 8 iron ingots surrounding it, and that gives you 1 machine block. So let's move on to the first machine, which is the 50 volt plate machine. Now this is crafted using 6 iron ingots, 1 redstone dust, 1 machine block, and 1 electrical motor, and that gives you the 50 volt plate machine. And then nominal voltage, I don't know what that is. %1V$. I'm just going to say nominal voltage is 50 because it's the 50 volt plate machine. Either that kind of bunch of symbols there means something, it might mean something, or it's just a mistake, but I'm going to assume it means something, but you should just be supplying them with 50 volts anyway. Any more, they explode. Any less, well, any more they don't explode, but they will explode at some point with too much voltage. And any less voltage, they go slow. So more is better, but not too much. Yeah, so this is the plate machine. They all have nice 3D models. So let's go over to what it can craft. Now this is used to making plates. So it can turn 1 copper ingot to 1 copper plate, 1 lead ingot into 1 lead plate, 4 silicon ingots into 1 silicon plate. So it actually takes up 4 silicon ingots to make the 1 plate, 1 alloy ingot into 1 alloy plate, 1 iron ingot into 1 iron plate, and 1 gold ingot into gold plate. We'll get into the alloy later on in the video. It's just like right over there. Yeah, so that's the plate machine. Again, I will demonstrate this working near the end of the video. So let's move on to the next machine, which is the macerator. Now this has the most crafting recipes out of all of them. So let's go look at the crafting first. Now it's crafted using 4 iron ingots, 1 redstone dust, 2 flint, 1 machine block, and 1 electrical motor, and that gives you 1 macerator. And again, its nominal voltage is that weird a bunch of symbols that may or may not mean something, and then nominal power is 200 watts. So all of these machines use the same amount of power and the same weird symbols for their voltage. Thinking about it, that might be that those symbols might be like an equation relating to like the voltage to their processing speed. I don't know, maybe, or it's just a mistake. Who knows? But yeah, so this is the macerator. It's got these nice kind of crushy bits in there. And again, all of these have sounds and animations. And again, a very nice 3D model. Now let's look over at its recipes. So this thing has a lot of recipes, so let's start off. So it can be used to pretty much turn ores into dusts. So this is this mod's, the macerator's, this mod's kind of method of ore duplication. So it can turn 1 coal ore into 3 coal. It can turn 1 copper ore into 2 copper dust, 1 iron ore into 2 iron dust, 1 gold ore into 2 gold dust, 1 lead ore into 2 lead dust, 1 tungsten ore into 2 tungsten dust. You're going to want to do that just to make sure you get the most out of your tungsten. And it can turn 1 cinnabar ore into 1 cinnabar dust, 1 coal dust, 1 coal into 2 coal dust, and 1 charcoal into 2 coal dust. Now with that coal dust, you can now craft the son. I'm not good with the words, but you can now make this lamp socket as it requires the coal dust. But yeah, you will with you can't smelt the cinnabar ore on its own. So if you do want to use something, use the cinnabar ore for something. It seems like the cinnabar ore might not spawn into the world, but I might just be unlucky. But then the cinnabar dust, it can be smelted into mercury, which is, well, it says it right there. It's useless. If I'm pressing U on it and nothing happens, it's useless as of now. Again, the mod is in development again, and everything here, I guess, is subject to change. Yeah, so let's move on here. So it can turn sand into silicon dust. So that's how you get that silicon. You basically put the sand in the macerator and it turns it to silicon dust. You can also use red sand. That works too. It can grind ingots into dust. So copper ingot, 1 copper dust, 1 iron ingot, 1 iron dust, 1 gold ingot, 1 gold dust, 1 lead ingot, 1 lead dust, 1 tungsten ingot, 1 tungsten dust. It can also be used to turn cobblestone into gravel, and then it can turn gravel into flint. So you can basically turn cobblestone into flint there. So you can have a near endless supply of arrows with that. And it can also turn dirt into sand, which I guess might be useful in some situations. But yes, that's the macerator. Again, I will show this thing working in a bit. Let's move on to the kind of second last machine, which is this one can actually make diamonds, which is neat. Diamonds are always nice. So let's move on. Let's go to the crafting recipe. So this is the 50-volt compressor, and it's crafted using 4 iron ingots, 1 redstone dust, 2 iron plates, 1 machine block, and 1 electrical motor. And again, same power as the rest of the machines. And this is the thing, again, is animated, has sounds, has a nice 3D model. Nice. So let's go over here. So it can turn coal dust. So the coal dust you got by grinding up coal or charcoal, you can put it into this thing, and it'll basically squish it into coal plates. And now if you put 4 of those coal plates into the machine, it will slowly squish them into a diamond. So it's basically a way to make, well, you can turn your trees into charcoal, charcoal into dust, the dust into plates, and then those plates into diamond. So you can basically turn trees into diamonds with this thing. It can also turn sand and red sand into dielectric. And if you're running low on tree resin to make rubber, you can basically throw in a bunch of wood and it'll just squish it into tree resin. Yeah. And for the diamond thing, it's not fast. It does takes a while to squish into diamond because it's a diamond. Yeah, so that's the compressor. And then this last thing here is the magnetizer. This is really only useful for one thing. I'll get into that. So this is the 50-volt magnetizer. It's crafted using 5 iron ingots, 1 redstone dust, 1 machine block, and 2 electrical motors. Now again, same power usage and voltage as the rest of these machines. And again, is animated and has custom sounds, and it looks nice. It's, again, nice 3D model. I always like it when mods make nice 3D models. But yeah, so its recipes, it has very few. It can turn 2 iron ingots into 1 basic magnet. And these basic magnets, you can't craft anything with them. Again, that is subject to change because this mod is in development. But it can turn 2 alloy ingots into advanced magnets, which are useful because they can make these advanced electric motors. And that's basically all they're used for. And these advanced electric motors make a lot of stuff. Not really, they make a lot of higher level things. the 200-volt machines and stuff like that. So that's the magnetizer. Yeah, so those were the crafting machines. Let's just get into a couple other items that might be useful, such as the machine boosters, just some other crafting just resources and stuff like that. So let's get into it. So that silicon dust you got by grinding up the sand, you can smelt it to silicon ingots, and it's just one silicon dust, one silicon ingot. But now with the silicon ingots, you can now make these LED bulbs. I suggest making these LED bulbs because the silicon's really not hard to get. It's just sand in the macerator. Then you get these LED bulbs, which is just a bunch of glass planes, 3 silicon ingots, and 1 low voltage cable, and that gives you 2. These things last for a long time. They use the least amount of power. They have the highest range. They're the ones you want to use, the LED bulbs. Or you can use the eco bulbs if you want a nice flicker on kind of thing. But yeah, again, like I mentioned earlier, cinnabar dust can turn into mercury. Mercury is useless of now, might change later in the mod. Then there's these things here. I'll get into these. These are the chips. These can be used to make things in the later on in the mod. I'm just showing them now because of a specific reason that I'll get into in a second. So this is the cheap chip. It's just crafted using 1 silicon ingot, 4 redstone dust. That gives you 1 cheap chip. Now you can turn this into an advanced chip. So by putting cheap chip in the middle, surrounded by redstone and silicon, you get the advanced chip. These advanced chips can be combined with a couple electric motors. So 1 advanced chip, 2 electrical motors can make this machine booster. Now the machine booster you use to boost the machines. You put them in the machine uses more power, but the machine runs faster. But yeah, you can put up to 5 machine boosters in one machine. Just be careful when using them that you don't overload your circuit, because these machines use a lot of power. And if you're using these single-use batteries, they're going to drain your single-use batteries pretty quickly using these machines. Yeah, so good news. If you ever use up one of these single-use batteries, like it's completely drained, what you can do is you can actually just save your dead single-use batteries, and you can slowly but surely recharge them for later use. Even though they're the single-use batteries, they have a large energy storage in them, so they're actually useful even after they're dead. So not as single-use as they might seem. So the last thing here, this is the alloy dust. This is used to make the alloy ingots. Pretty simple to make. It's just 2 iron dust, 1 tungsten dust, 1 coal dust. That gives you 2 alloy dust. And put the alloy dust in a furnace or electrical furnace, or some other smelting thing from some other mod. That'll give you the alloy ingot. And again, that can be used in the magnetizer to make the the advanced magnets. And that's it. That's the crafting machines and kind of crafting resources and stuff. So let's get into actually using these machines. Now, first I'm going to show how to use the electrical furnace. So let's just grab like some iron ore, and let's just grab the small 50-volt iron heating. I mean, not iron, copper heating core. That one is. So basically, you put the thing in. There you go. You get this gauge here. This gauge here depends on your thing here you put in here. I may be wrong or not, but I believe if this temperature gauge fills all the way up, I believe the furnace might explode. It might do that. I'll test that out. And I'll test that out once I'm done recording this, and then I'll edit in after. In the end of this video, I'll edit in what I found. Yeah, so you basically put your heating core in there, and then you put whatever you want in there, and you can see the voltage drops just a little bit because it's pulling current, and you can see it'll start heating up. And you might be thinking, oh, it's not smelting, there's something wrong with it. No, it needs to heat up. Now, once it starts heating up, you can see it'll start smelting. And basically, higher that temperature is, the faster it'll smelt. I don't know, with the temperature gauge there, I don't know what that A with, it looks like an A with like basically a halo over top of that. That's kind of what that looks like. Basically the A with the circle above it, I have no idea what that's about. But yeah. So again, everything here is measured in degrees Celsius. The proper temperature measuring unit. Because Celsius makes sense. But yeah, other than that. So then you can see once there's nothing in it, you can see with the auto shutdown, if there's something in it, it turns on, something it turns off. But you can turn it onto manual shutdown, and you can just turn it on, and it'll start heating up. Start heating up actually quite quickly. Then when you put something in there, you can see it doesn't heat up quite as fast. Take something out, it heats up faster. Basically, when you put something in, it uses up the heat. Yeah, so pretty simple. But if you go to this battery, you can see even with just the smallest, least power hungry heating element in this thing, or heating corp, you can see this single-use battery here, it's only going to last for like 10 minutes, maybe 11. So these things are power hungry, and I do suggest setting up some actual power generation quickly instead of just using these single-use batteries. Yeah, in the next episode, I'm going to get into some power generation. The next couple episodes, probably the rest of this series is probably going to include a lot of power generation. But yeah, so let's move on to the plate machine. Let's turn this off because I don't want it exploding again. Don't ask why I said again. Something there was a crater here at some point because of the plate machine. Don't question it. Let's grab some of these machine boosters. You know what, I'll explain what happened. Basically, I put too many machine boosters in one machine while kind of playing around here before I recorded, and it pretty much pulled too much power out of the battery. The battery overheated. The battery exploded. Fun. But yeah, so let's not put that in there. Basically, so this is the plate machine. Let's grab this iron ingot. Let's put it in there. And you can see it starts going. It has some nice sound effects, and it's animated, and you can see its little thing go up here, the little bar. And you can see this thing is drawing quite a bit of power. This battery is only going to last for 7 minutes, and we don't even have any machine boosters in here. But you can see it takes a while. But let's put a machine booster. You can see now it's going faster, but this battery, it's going to be dead in 5 minutes. And we're pulling 290 watts. Let's put another one in. Now we're pulling 394 watts. And this battery's only going to last for 3 minutes. We can do better than that. We can put another one in. Now we're pulling over this battery's limit. So let's break that before that battery does something we don't want it to do. Basically, if you pull more power than the battery can supply, the battery will start heating up, and then after that happens, once it reaches a certain point, it goes boom. It's not a very powerful explosion, but it's enough to pop your wires and stuff off. Yeah, so that's the plate machine, and that's the boosters. Be careful with the machine boosters, not to overload your circuits. Yeah, so let's move on to the macerator, and I guess we can use the iron ore for this one too. Let's put the iron ore in there. Let's put a couple machine boosters. There we go. So you can see it's grinding the ore. And every ore you put in should give you 2 iron dust. Let's see here. Yeah, there we go. So that's how you can basically duplicate your ores into here, and smelting the dust turns it into a ingot. So 1 iron ore can actually get you 2 ingots using the macerator. So that's pretty cool. So let's move on to the compressor. Now let's grab some coal dust. Actually, that should be in this one, right? No, it's in the first one. There you go. Let's grab the coal dust. Oh, there you go. Let's go here. Put it in. And you can see it's... There we go, the sound effect starts. So you can see it goes down into the little hole and squishes your dust or whatever. And when it gets to the bottom... So this thing, it goes pretty quickly. should make a noise. There you go. It goes up, and then it makes the plate. And again, this can be sped up using the machine boosters. There we go. So you can make this thing go pretty quickly. But let's just go here. So again, you can see it's taken a long time. I will put some more machine boosters in there later, but I don't want to blow up the battery. But yeah, basically it will slowly but surely turn these coal plates into, well, diamonds. And let's go here. Let's just grab this. And this is the magnetizer. Pretty simply, you put your thing in there, it spins, and it magnetizes and turns them into magnets. Speed this up a little bit. Spinning quite fast. Yeah. Make a magnet. Does take a while. Windmill. Why is it not spinning? Ah, whatever. Make me a magnet. Make me a magnet. Yeah, some of these machines do take a while, so be patient. Come on. There we go, advanced magnet. So it uses up two alloy ingots, made you an advanced magnet. Nice. Yeah, so, oh, I've left the compressor here from playing around. Yeah, so let me explain some stuff here. So this is the electrical source. Basically, it's a creative mode only item. Let's go to the end here. Electrical source. It provides an LD. So basically, you put your voltage in here. So let's set this back to 0. So if we want to set it to 50, you put 50 in. Make sure you click enter. If you don't click enter, then it won't change it. So you got to make sure after you put your number in, not 500, there we go. Put your number in, click enter, and then there we go, it'll set it. And this thing can provide an infinite amount of current, but once it supplies more than 20 amps, the wires are going to explode. But yeah, so that's the electrical supply. It's a creative mode only item, but let's just use it to power this compressor here. Let's put these coal plates in. Then it will start going. But let's put in these machine boosters in. And there you go. So this machine is now basically it's basically going as fast as it can. I can probably increase this a little bit. Let's increase the power to 55. There we go. We're just on kind of the orange mark. You know what? Let's try 60. Yeah, it's getting a bit high. Even though it's now above 50 volts, it'll still run and go faster. But you can see it's slowly turning this into a diamond. Let's see how high I can go. Let's try 65. That cable just turned big. So let's turn that down a little bit then. 64, there you go. You can see it's right at the top there of, yeah, so any more than that, I think it might explode this machine. Yeah, so we're basically now pushing this as far as it can go. It's going as fast as it possibly can. And it's pulling more than 20 amps through this cable. And you can see that cable is overheating. So let's turn this down back to a reasonable, like, 55. Still too much. There we go. How much can I increase that? Yeah, you gotta be careful with these machines. They do pull a lot of power. Still over, I guess. There we go. I'm just trying to get that under 20 amps. But you can see that wire was heating up. It should be cooling off now, but you can see we got a nice diamond here now. So yeah, this machine is slow, but surely it makes diamonds. So, yeah. So this, I don't know how long, ooh, 30 minutes? This video was about 30 minutes. I mean, it's not like the hour the other video was, so yeah, this was a shorter video. Still 30 minutes, but yeah, that was a shorter video. So I'm gonna end the video off here. Yeah, once I end the video, there will probably be the clip of me attempting to explode the electrical furnace. But yeah, so I'm gonna end the video here. So like if you like the video, subscribe if you want, and check out my Discord and stuff like that. Yeah. Okay, we're out here outside of the compound, or whatever you want to call it. But I got myself an electrical source, an electrical furnace, and the most powerful 50-volt heating element you can make. And let's just see what happens. Let's put down the wire. Let's put down the source. Let's just set this to 50. Please ignore that monstrosity over there. That's just me attempting to charge the batteries, and it does work. It does charge the unchargeable batteries. But yeah. So actually I don't need it. So let's just pop this thing in there. Let's turn this to manual shutdown and let's heat it up. I might fast forward this part. Okay, so it seems the temperature has, oh no, it's still increasing. Let's see if I can get this to increase a bit more. We're pulling what, 9 amps through there? Oh, that's fine. Let's increase this to 60 volts. We're pulling 11 amps now. Temperature's increasing again. Okay, let's play dangerously and set this to 65. Oh no, let's set it to 64. One stack of voltage. There we go. Voltage is all the way up at the limit, and it seems like it's increasing again. So I'm going to fast forward. It does seem it's still increasing, although slowly. So I'm just going to fast forward until it either explodes or it doesn't. So it seems it won't increase very much anymore, which is kind of disappointing. But I do want to still see if my theory is correct. So let's move up into the more big boy heating elements, and let's replace this thing with the 200 volt one. And let's set this to, well, 200 volts. My mistake. Too small a cable. Let's just fix that by putting that right there. There we go. How much power are we pulling? 6 amps? Meh. So, temperature's heating up even more. Come on, I just want to see if this thing, for some I just want to see, does this thing, if it heats up all the way, will it explode? Maybe. It actually seems quite hard to get this thing to heat up to a point where it will explode. Come on. I'm making this video long just because I want to see this thing explode. Still no higher? Come on. Get hotter. That is the most powerful heating element you can put in there. I do wonder, how fast does it cook stuff? Let's just grab some iron ore in here. That's very quick. But it seems like it's quickly sucking up our temperature, which we don't want. 270. Oh, there it goes. So what exploded there? Did the electrical furnace explode because of too much temperature, or did it explode from too much voltage? Who knows? Oh well, so it does seem at some point if it gets too hot it will explode, but it also seems that it's will be very, very hard to get it up to that point where it's going to be too hot to where it's going to be hot enough to explode. So yeah, that was the kind of extra section on this video. If you have any questions about anything in any of the mod tutorials I do, or just a question in general, feel free to hop onto my Discord and ask it there. And yeah, so like if you like the video, subscribe if you want, and thank you for watching.